What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to Blazers Uprise Live here on a Monday. Hopefully everybody's having a good holiday season. The Blazers play tonight. They take on the Philadelphia 76ers. They are 6-point underdogs. Actually, 6.5-point underdogs more recently, according to BetUS. And we'll talk a little bit about that game. We're going to pick 7 games for picks against the spread. And then we're going to talk about what the Dorian Finney-Smith trade means for your Portland Trail Blazers and specifically Jerami Grant. Now, Eric should be joining us very shortly for picks against the spread, but we do have to jump into it. These are not the latest standings. Let me update this as I forgot to do it before the stream. You love that. You love that. All right, latest standings are there. Eric's still up top. We've been saying that all season long, but things are definitely getting closer. After Eric went 5-5 last Thursday, Trevin 7-3, only 1 game back. Chat, congrats. The groupthink has been working lately. 8-2, best on the day last Thursday. You are only 3 games back of Eric. Meanwhile, you got myself 7 games back. I continue to be mid AF, as the kids would say. 4-6 day for me, and you had some 3-7s from Crushables, Steven, Brendan, and 503. We are currently 66 games below 500. We keep having days where we go a couple games below 500. 61-69 collectively last Thursday. We are 500 on double downs, 113 and 113. Now let's jump into game number 1. You have the Charlotte Hornets hosting the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls are 4-point road favorites. Let me pull up the injury report brought to you by our mod and social media guy, Brendan. These injury reports have been a lifesaver this year. Out for the Bulls, Zach LaVine and Ayo Dosunmu. Out for the Hornets, Grant Williams, Trey Mann, Cody Martin, Brandon Miller, and LaMelo Ball. So a very short-handed Hornets team. A gross injury report to start off the day. Mods, if you can, arrow's already on it. Love it. Don't even have to ask. And there is your poll. All right, picks for this game. We have Eric going Bulls, Trevin Bulls, Javon Bulls. I'm also going to go with the Chicago Bulls. Let me know if the background music's a little loud. It's hard to judge from my end. We got Hornets for 503. We got Brendan going with the Bulls. Whoops, wrong logo. Steven going Hornets. Zach went Bulls. We're waiting on Jackson, Connor. Jackson's Bulls. Good to see Jackson. Connor. I might need to oh, Connor's right there. Bulls. All right. I don't have to text anybody. You love to see it. All right. Arrowmancer went with the Bulls, and we had Crushables. I don't see Crushable. Oh, Crush. There we go. Bulls. All right. So everybody's liking the Bulls except for 503 and Steven. It's just a bit loud. Yeah, I had a feeling the background music was a bit loud. There we go. That should be better. We got Bulls for chat. I'm going to end the poll. It is 62% of the vote. If you want to double down on one of these 4:10 p.m. tip-off times, let me know right away as these games are tipping off. Basically, right now, game number 2, we have the Washington Wizards hosting the New York Knicks. The Knicks are 13-point road favorites, massive favorites there. Injuries for this game. Out for the Knicks, only one player on their injury report. It's Mitchell Robinson. He's been out all year. And then out for the Wizards, Sadiq Bey, Marvin Bagley III, and Jordan Poole. Brendan says Bulls has double down. Sounds good. Chat, there is your poll. I'm going to go Wizards. We got Wizards for Brendan. Trevin Knicks, Zach Knicks. $503 Knicks. This is going to be his double down. Wizards for Brendan. I already said that. Connor going Knicks. Eric went Knicks. Jackson Knicks. Crushables went Knicks. Pretty much everybody going Knicks so far. Another one-sided vote in favor of the favorite. Steven going Wizards with myself and Brendan. We had Arrow going with the Knicks. And we had Javon going with the Wizards. So we do have 4 picks for the Washington Wizards. Chat's going to go with the Knicks, 69% of the vote. Making this a 9v4 in favor of the New York Knicks. All right. Game number 3. We're into 5:10 p.m. tip-off time here. We got the New Orleans Pelicans at 5-27 hosting the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers are 4.5-point road favorites. Out for the Clippers, Terrence Mann, PJ Tucker, and Kawhi Leonard. However, Kawhi is supposedly returning soon to a Clippers team that has played much better than I thought without him. And then out for the Pelicans is Carlo Matkovic, Jose Alvarado, Brandon Ingram, and Zion Williamson. The picks that we have for this game, chat, there's your poll. We got Clippers for Javon, Clippers for Connor. I cannot go with the Pelicans again. I feel like I've gone with them too much. I'm going to go Clippers. Eric is here, so let me mute and call. And he can read off picks to me. Hello. Welcome to the stream. All right. Nice Christmas tree. I'm going to miss that Christmas tree. You can read off the... Yeah. Fresh into it, Eric, you can read off the picks for me.
All right.
On chat. They're posting everything in chat, so you can just read them from chat.
Clippers for Zach, Brendan, Javon, Connor, 503, Trevin, myself. And then Pelicans for Steven and Aeromancer.
All right, so we're missing Crushables and Jackson. So Arrow and Steven, Pelicans, everybody else so far. Clippers.
Jackson's
Pelicans.
Yes.
All right, and then Crushables went Clippers.
Yeah.
All right, chat's going Clippers. This is likely going to be their double down, as right now it shows 94% of the vote for the Los Angeles Clippers, making this a 10v3 in favor of the Clippers. Game number 4 of 7. We have... I gotta keep taking down that camera. We got the Utah Jazz hosting the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets are 7.5-point road favorites. Out for the Nuggets, Deron Holmes, Vlatko Konkar, and Aaron Gordon. Out for the Jazz, Taylor Hendricks, who's out for the season, John Collins, and then probable for the Jazz is Keontae George.
I can read the injuries too, moving forward, if you want me to.
Nah, I'm in a flow state.
Okay, cool.
You know, good old flow state. Alrighty. And I set up more. You know, normally I put in these logos that I show down below in the middle of the stream. I actually did it before, so it's even easier.
Nice.
Yeah. Zach, Jazz. All right, go ahead.
Nuggets for myself, Aeromancer, Javon, Brendan, Jackson, Crushables, 503, and Trevin.
We are loving the favorites today. Oh my goodness.
Steven Nuggets as well.
I'm going Jazz with Zach. So 503, Steven, Javon, Crushables, Arrow, Jackson, Brendan.
Yeah, just say Javon and me.
And you.
Connor's Jazz with you.
All right, Connor, let's get it. Let's get it. All right, Nuggets win the chat poll, 79% of the vote. Making this a 10v3 in favor of the Denver Nuggets. Every game's the same. It's like 9v4, 10v3, 11v2 in favor of the favorite today through all 4 games. We got game number 5. We got a rematch of multiple NBA Finals of years past with the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavaliers are 4-point road favorites. Out for the Cavs, 1 player, that's Isaac Okoro. Then out for the Warriors is GP 2 weeks, Brandon Podziemski. And then probable for the Warriors is Moses Moody. We got Cavs for Arrow, Cavs for Brendan.
I took Warriors.
Eric's going Warriors. I'm going to go Cavs. Connor Cavs, Crush Cavs.
This is going to be an island for me.
Maybe. Maybe at this rate. 503 Cavs.
Oh, Steven screwed it up. It's gonna have to change my double down.
Alright, we got Zach went Cavs. Do you have Jackson's and Trevin's and Javon's pick? Javon went Cavs.
They're all Cavs, yeah.
All of them? Alrighty.
Well, actually, I don't know Trevin's yet. Yeah, Cavs.
All right, chat's going Cavs, 86% of the vote. We just keep following the same formula today. If we have another below 500 day, we collectively have to switch it up. All right. We got 11v2 in favor of the Cavs. Game 6 of 7, we have your Portland Trailblazers hosting the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers are 6.5-point road favorites. Injuries for this game. Out for the Sixers, Jared McCain and Kenyon Martin Jr. And then questionable is 4 players. Eric Gordon, Andre Drummond, Joel Embiid, and Kyle Lowry. All right, out for your Blazers, Matisse Thybulle, and then they have 4 players questionable as well. Those are Robert Williams, Delano Banton, Tamani Kamara, and Jerami Grant. What are we thinking for this game tonight, chat? Do you think it's competitive? Do you think it's Chauncey Billups' return and the Blazers are going to have a letdown?
76ers for myself and Brendan. Blazers for Javon and Aeromancer. And Zach.
This is a tough one. This is a good spread.
Connor and Crushables, Jackson, all Blazers.
Of course, this is the one game we take the underdog.
Steven Blazers as well.
All right, Steven Blazers.
Sixers for 503.
All right, and then Trevin. This is a tough one for me, man. I don't know what I want to do. Chat's going Sixers.
Sixers for Trevin.
Tough. I mean, Joel Embiid is questionable, right? So, and it's a home game. I'll go with the Blazers. All right. 8v5 in favor of the Blazers. Last game of the day, we have the Sacramento Kings and Doug Christie hosting the Dallas Mavericks. The Kings 7-point home favorites. Massive injury report for this game. We have out for the Mavs, Najee Marshall due to a suspension, Dante Exum, Luka Doncic, and Kyrie Irving. And then questionable is Derek Lively II. And then for the Kings, out for them is Devin Carter. And then questionable is Jay Crowder. Devin Carter playing in the G League, though. He's about to make his NBA debut soon, which is good to see. The Kings suck and the Mavs have... I mean, who is their starting lineup then, Eric? No Kyrie, no Luka, so I guess you got Jaden Hardy, Quentin Grimes.
Yeah, they started Kleba with Gafford the other day.
Yeah.
Kings for myself and Brendan and Connor and Javon.
I'll also go Kings.
Let me know when you've got all those.
I got them. Okay, so you, me, Connor, Javon, Brendan. Yes.
Yeah. And then Aeromancer... Or no, sorry. Kings also for Jackson, Crushable, and Trevin in 503.
Ready? And then...
Mavericks for Arrow and Zach.
All right.
Stevens, Kings.
Yeah, let me put a Mavs logo in here. For some reason, it's a Memphis logo.
That are the Glizzies.
Yeah. All right, we got Kings, and then chat's going to go Kings. Not going to be their double down, though. 83% of the vote going Kings. So heavy on the Kings, 11v2. I mean, every game except the Blazer game followed this recipe, so we'll see if it works out for us. If the favorites all lose, it's a bad day for mostly everybody. If they all win, it's a good day for mostly everybody. We could use a collective above 500 day. All right, time for double downs. Let me bring... Nope. There we go. Wait. I'm trying to get your beautiful face on the screen. There we go. All right. Time for double downs. I don't want to double down on the Kings because they suck. I don't like them. But
Clippers for chat.
all right, chat went Clippers.
I had Knicks. I put it in before the stream, so. Cavs for Javon.
Hold on.
Okay, sorry.
My stuff's being slow. No, it's all good. You said Knicks for you. Hey, Javon. What'd Javon go with?
Cavs. Aeromancer also doubled down on the Cavs. Jackson is Knicks with me. So it was 503.
Jackson, Knicks, 503 Knicks.
And then
I'm 2 picks behind you. Hold on. All right, so Jackson, Knicks, and 503 Knicks.
Yep.
Okay.
Blazers for Zach and Crushables. Cavs for Trevin. Steven is Kings.
Whoa.
Brendan Bowles. Connor Clappers.
Hold on. Okay, Stephen Kings. What was the next one? Brendan?
Brendan Bowles.
Okay. And then I have to make mine, and I still don't know what I want to do. Connor, you said was who?
Floppers.
Okay. And then my double down pick, man. I'm not gonna double down on Utah. I will double down. You know what? I'll go with Steven and double down on the Kings.
Oh,
Yeah, let's
man.
do that. What?
Nothing.
Stressing me out for no reason. All right, we got 3 on the Cavs, 3 on the Knicks, 2 on the Kings, 2 on the Clippers, 2 on the Blazers, and Brendan by himself. Nobody for Brendan. He's by himself. Chicago Bulls. That concludes picks against the spread. Thank you for your participation. All right, let's get your camera up there, wherever it is. All right, so I forget. Did we discuss the Finney-Smith trade on the last postgame show?
No, it
Or was
happened
after.
after.
It happened after. That's what I thought.
It happened
Things just
yesterday.
blurred together. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. So, let me just tell you guys the package first. So the Lakers trade for Dorian Finney-Smith, and this is after there were rumors of the Grizzlies trading a first-round pick, John Conker and Luke Kennard, to the Nets for Finney-Smith. Conker has 2 years left, like $7 million, something around like that, and he's just not even a rotation player, really. And the Nets decided to value the 3 second-round picks they get from the Lakers for Finney-Smith and the expiring contract of D'Angelo Russell. They also get back Maxwell Lewis. The Lakers get back Finney-Smith and Shake Milton. And Shake Milton might play for them a little bit due to some of the injuries they've dealt with, and they need a little bit of guard depth to replace Russell. So Finney-Smith, obviously, though, is the prize there. The Nets valuing expiring contract in D'Angelo Russell, and then Maxwell Lewis, I think, has a team option. So basically, they clear Finney-Smith's contract off their books, and they get back 3 seconds. Now, those are future Lakers seconds. After LeBron retires or whatever, those seconds could be really good. Everybody views first-round picks versus second-round picks in a vacuum. If this was a first-round pick from Memphis this year, it was probably late 20s because Memphis is second in the West. A future Lakers second could be early 30s, and they got 3 of them. So I do want to put that context out there. That is why the Nets went with the package they did. But screw the Lakers, man. This conversation is about your Portland Trail Blazers. My initial reaction to this, Eric, was it was bad news for 2 reasons. Do you think this is bad news for the Blazers? I'll get into why I think it's bad news, but do you think this means anything for the Blazers, especially in regards to trading Jerami Grant?
Yes and no. Yes, because I still think they were a team that saw Jerami as more than he is this year. No, because I've said this many times, the Lakers were looking for trades that did not involve giving up their first unless it was for a bona fide star player. And this was about as good as they could have done, I think, without trading a first. So in my mind, the Blazers weren't going to accept a package without a first in it, with the contracts coming back from the Lakers for Jerami or pretty much anyone else we would trade them. And so I think this just means that the Blazers weren't going to be dealing with them unless they completely gave up on their asking price or like altogether any kind of value. So yeah, I don't think it really ended up mattering because I don't think the Lakers are going to trade for him. but it does take away the most likely team that could have, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so there's two factors to this for me. If this deal sets the market for a two-way forward in any way, shape, or form, it is not good news for the Portland Trailblazers. Dorian Finney-Smith has been better this season than Jerami Grant and is on a better contract. And the Nets get back 3 seconds and expiring. That is bad news if you think the Blazers have the potential to get 2 first-round picks for Jerami Grant. I've been saying it. It's not going to happen, okay? And supposedly the Blazers asking prices 1 first-round pick and a quality young player, which is pretty close to 2 first-round picks anyway. I think that asking price is ultimately going to end up being too high, and the Blazers are going to have to move off of it. It's just tough, man, because Dorian Finney-Smith has had a better season than Jerami Grant. He's a better defensive player. He's shooting 43% from 3. So he's been a better three-point shooter than Jerami Grant this season, and that's Jerami Grant's best trait. That's his best trait. So if that's what Dorian Finney-Smith goes for, what can you realistically expect for Jerami Grant? The only way I see them getting a first is if they take back a non-expiring contract. Now, the Lakers, while maybe, they weren't going to trade for Jerami Grant anyway, I think this makes it even less likely because Dorian Finney-Smith is a forward that can play either forward position and is a two-way forward. And the best contract to get from the Lakers, you could argue it's Rui because he has, the Blazers could flip him, but how much could you realistically flip him for if this is what Dorian Finney-Smith goes for? Okay. The other best contract was D'Angelo Russell's because it's an expiring contract, and that is now in Brooklyn. So if you're not getting back Rui, which I think the Lakers value Rui, which makes it even less likely to make a trade happen, the only other contracts you can make a trade around is Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, who's making $11 million this year and next year, so is not coming off the books, and then other salary pieces. I don't know how the Lakers get there. Like Max Christie and Hood Schifino or something like that, and maybe that's your young player, but those contracts, Vanderbilt can't stay healthy, and the Blazers don't really have a need for somebody like Jared Vanderbilt, and he's making $11 million this year and next year and maybe even the year after. It's a pretty long-term contract. So
yeah, I think it's still 3 more years.
This effectively kills, in my opinion, the hope that Jerami Grant to the Lakers could happen. And if it does, the trade package is going to be probably worse because of those reasons I stated than the Blazers could have maybe traded Jerami Grant to the Lakers for it this past offseason, which is bad. So bad news for the Blazers, this Dorian Finney-Smith trade. Now you just have to hope other teams are going to be in the picture here. But Eric, the trade rumors around the Blazers have kind of died. There was a rumor today I saw about the Kings pursuing like 4 separate players. None of them were Jerami Grant. Now, they're rumors, right? You can't read too much necessarily into just rumors, but man, it's been silent around the Portland Trailblazers. And Jerami Grant suitors, how many of them are out there is my question. How many teams would have interest in giving anything up for Jerami Grant? What is that number?
I will say I don't know if it's necessarily bad if you're not hearing rumors, because we're not hearing that they want to keep Jerami past the deadline either.
Yeah, I think it's bad with the context that I laid out, though. I feel very pessimistic heading into this trade deadline, man.
Yeah, I mean, that was very predictable, right?
Yeah.
I think, so for the Lakers, I think they clearly need point guard and center depth over forward depth now.
Yeah.
They've needed that all season, but this just magnifies it, trading D'Lo now. So
Colin Sexton and Walker Kessler for their first?
I don't know if the it was reported that the Jazz turned down like an unprotected first for Walker Kessler in the
which is
offseason.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think.
But yeah, I don't know. They've been trying to get players without giving up first, though, and until Pelinka changes that, I don't know. He's been very stubborn when it comes to that. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I don't think maybe Anthony Simons, but I don't think there's a player on the Blazers that they would give up a first for. Yeah. So
yeah. I'm looking at an article that's the top trade destinations for Jerami Grant. Okay, let's just run through some of these teams. All right, the number one trade destination listed in this article says the Dallas Mavericks. Maxi Kleber, Jaden Hardy, PJ Washington. All right. Now, the Mavericks have one future first they can trade in 2031. If it was to be protected, which you would assume it would be, it would have to turn into nothing because they've already traded their 2031 second-round pick, and you can't trade picks beyond 2031. You can't list protections on picks past 2031. So basically, you're looking at something that's maybe like top 8 protected and then turns into nothing, which who knows what the Mavericks will be in 7 years. I doubt they would give up an unprotected first for Jerami Grant. And that pick has some serious downside without the upside of being unprotected. And who knows if they want to trade PJ Washington and a pick for Jerami Grant. It doesn't make sense for the Blazers to do this type of trade without a pick. So what do you think of Dallas as a destination, Eric?
Yeah, I have a hard time thinking that even if they did manage to scrape together enough salary to do it, that would be the guy they would pursue.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible. I do think Jeremy's a good fit there, but
yeah,
PJ has been good for them. Like, why would they? Yeah. Like, is it really that much better to have Jerami than PJ Washington? I'd argue that it might not be.
The way that Jeremy's played this year. Yeah.
Yeah, and PJ's, I think, on a pretty good contract. Like.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, especially with the new CBA coming around the corner and super tax and all this and all that, like, do you really want to go from PJ Washington to Jerami Grant's ginormous contract? When you got Luka, you got Kyrie, they're going to be making max contracts, right? Derek Lively's going to get a massive extension in a couple of years. He's going to be paid a lot of money. You kill your flexibility for Jerami Grant. Just doesn't match up for me. Doesn't do it for the Mavericks, in my opinion. That's not the type of trade I would be looking at if I were them. Destination number 2, LA Lakers. Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, and a 2029 first-round pick is the suggested trade. Now, I would do that in a heartbeat, but we just talked about the Lakers. Team number 3 is the Miami Heat, okay? I don't think the Blazers are ever going to make a trade with the Miami Heat, at least not this front office and ownership group, okay? They do not like each other. But the potential trade offer for Grant was Duncan Robinson, Haywood Highsmith, Josh Richardson, Thomas Bryant, and a 2029 first-round pick. Eric, what do you think of the Heat? And what do you think of that package?
I agree that I don't think they're going to trade with the Heat. But who'd you say? Thomas Bryant? Didn't he get traded already?
Yeah, that's what this is from. When is this from? This is from December 12th. Mm-hmm. So I think that was like right before Thomas Bryant got traded. Thomas Bryant got traded on like the 14th.
Can you repeat it?
Duncan Robinson, Haywood Highsmith, Josh Richardson, and then like a minimum contract, I guess. Thomas Bryant was the one that was used.
No picks?
2029 first-round pick.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'd take that.
Yeah, so the only thing that sucks with this is Duncan Robinson is making $19 million this year and is under contract next year as well. Same thing for Haywood Highsmith. So you're not gaining any flexibility, you're not really shedding any salary, and you're getting back pieces that you do not need for your rebuild, right? Maybe you could flip Duncan Robinson, Haywood Highsmith for expirings. Like, I would just do it for expirings and just keep the pick. But I don't have faith in these two front offices actually working together. All right.
Especially finding a third team, too, on top of that. Jeez.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Destination number 4, we've talked about them a little bit. Minnesota Timberwolves, Julius Randle and 3 second-round picks.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like. Hopefully, you can flip Randall for a first or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, God, this last one. Like, the Minnesota, maybe if it's like, do they really want to trade Randall for Jerami Grant when Randall is still, like, statistically much better? I know there's fit issues and this and that, but you would think, I don't know, you would think that's not a step forward for Minnesota, so why do it? And then, like, the Blazers, what do you got to flip Randall for something, and if the Timberwolves are trading him for Jerami Grant, who doesn't have much value, then what makes you think you could actually get value out of Randall then? So it just doesn't really move the needle.
Or the rebuild has their star in Randall.
Oh, my God, man. You're trying to make me throw up. The 5th destination, Sacramento. Now, Sacramento could put together a couple different packages, okay? The one they put together I do not like because the potential trade offer for Grant says Keegan Murray and Kevin Huerter. That's what we need. We need Chris's brother, Eric.
Nice.
I think Keegan Murray's he hasn't been good this year. They might have interest in that trade, but I still feel like it's, I don't know. What do you think of that?
I could definitely see the Blazers doing that. I would prefer to get Devin Carter than Keegan Murray. Yeah, maybe you could trade both Carter and Keegan somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, you're not getting back a pick in that deal. If you're not getting back a pick, I want Devin Carter. Okay.
What if you could get a pick from, like, the Cavs, like a 2031? Can they trade their 2031 first? Let's
see, but, like, why would the Cavs trade a first-round pick for somebody like Jerami Grant when they're as good as they are right now?
I'm talking about Keegan Murray.
Oh. Yeah, they can trade their 2031. I just don't know if Keegan Murray, like, has value, man. He's been pretty brutal this year, so it's hard to say. I think the Kings are maybe the most likely destination for him. Do you agree with that?
Well, heading into the season, I would have said that's definitely a possibility, but I just don't know what they're doing right now. Like, are they going to trade Fox and go through another tough stretch? Because if they do, they wouldn't need to trade for Jerami then. Or, like, what are they going to do? So, or do they just, I mean, do they trade Fox and try to be good still and then have part of the returning package be Jerami so we get pieces from another team or something? I don't know, man. It seems really weird.
Here's the thing, though. So there's a report that the Kings inquired about 4 players before they fired Mike Brown. Okay, those players are Zach LaVine, Brandon Ingram, Cam Thomas, and Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, a bunch of crap.
No Jerami Grant in that report. What other suitors are out there, Eric? Because right now, all these teams, the only one that makes even a little bit of sense in terms of, like, clearly being something the Blazers should do is the Kings and the packages they could put together. But they're going to be in the market for LaVine, Ingram, Cam Thomas, Kyle, like all sorts of guys, right? And what if they just don't value Jerami Grant because he hasn't been good this year? You know, that is the problem. That's the problem. So if it's not the Kings, who is it? The Grizzlies? They missed out on Finney-Smith?
Yeah, maybe if Milwaukee decided to trade Chris because of injury concerns, but he's played well when he's played, but can you count on that? Maybe there's some sort of avenue there. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough, man. This is why I'm worried, Eric. This is why I'm worried. I'm starting to believe that there's a greater than 50% chance that Jerami Grant is still on this team past the deadline. I'm really starting to believe that. Like, yeah, Chris Middleton, but it's just so many ifs for that situation. It's like, okay, he was hurt to start the year. Now he's healthy. If he's still healthy at the deadline, why would they trade him for injuries that he's been fine for 2-3 months or whatever, right?
I think it's been in and out of the lineup since he came back, even. So that would be it's kind of like Robert Williams at this point.
But it doesn't make sense for that team to get worse and get healthier. Because they need the upside of being good enough to beat the Celtics or the Knicks, right? I feel like if you move off Chris is better than Jerami right now. If you move off Chris to Jerami, you're just lessening how good you are when healthy. With Chris, yes, maybe there's more risk, but there's more reward. And they kind of need that. I don't feel like taking a step back just to get somebody that's healthier is the move for a team like that. And that's the thing, is how much of a step back do they view it is the big question, because you look at the way Jeremy's played this year.
Yeah.
So, really tough ask there. Chat, do you have any other teams that you have in mind for Jerami Grant? Because I just do not like the way this is shaping up for him. And I feel like if he gets traded, it's going to be a team that we have not talked enough about that comes out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Javon says Cavs. The Cavs are 27-4. Why would they trade for a guy who's been awful this year when they've been great? You know. The Pacers, I mean, they can't even put Jarris Walker on the floor. They're
trying to trade forward depth, not get another forward.
Yeah, and rebounding is a problem for them, right? I need to look up the stats, but Miles Turner's not the greatest rebounder. If anything, they need big man depth. They're a player for Robert Williams. Now, maybe there's something out there with Rob Will and Jerami Grant, but their contract situation is a little messy when trying to match that sort of thing. The Pacers rank 21st in defensive rebound percentage and 28th in offensive rebound percentage. So Jerami Grant not going to help their rebounding. And, you got Siakam there at the 4. Mathurin plays some 3 because you got Nembhard, you got TJ McConnell, you got Halliburton at guard positions. Grant is playing like he's done here, so that's at least a sign. If it is one, it's not a sign. I mean, he's probably mentally checked out of here, but that doesn't mean he's getting traded. Warriors, I mean, yeah, if they strike out on too many guys and get desperate, the types of pieces that you would potentially get back there if you're the Blazers are GP 2 weeks, Kyle Anderson, Kevon Looney. I still don't think that's enough salary coming out from them, though. That's the problem with this freaking contract, right? Otherwise, they have to trade Wiggins for Jerami Grant. Why would they trade Wiggins for Jerami Grant? You know what I mean? So that's the problem when you get into contracts. I don't think they're going to trade Buddy Hield for Jerami Grant, okay? So you're looking at GP2, Kyle Anderson. And Kyle Anderson has like $9 million a year, 3 years on his contract. No use to the Blazers. Maybe you could flip him, but that's kind of a negative contract if you're the Portland Trail Blazers in your situation, right? And GP 2 weeks, Kyle Anderson, Kevon Looney is approximately $27 million. So and Fanspo has them $6 million over the tax. So that would put him past the first apron, which they'd have to trade out more salary than Grant in order to not get hard capped at the first apron. And Grant is making currently 29.7. So you'd also have to throw in Lindy Waters, and then it'd be like borderline.
They're also hard caps, so they have to sign players too, and we'd have to cut players.
Are they already hard capped at the first apron?
Yeah, because they got healed in the sign and trade.
Got you. Yeah, so they're already hard capped there. And GP2, Kyle Anderson, Kevon Looney, Lindy Waters is still not enough salary to match Jerami Grant, and it would put them like right up against that hard cap, and they'd have to fill 3 roster spots. Or at least 2. I think they might have 15 players on their team. So basically, they would have to trade one of Wiggins, Heald, Moses Moody, or Podziemski for Grant. So the question becomes, do they want to trade any of those 4 for Jerami Grant? Big if, okay? And then, if they do, they probably don't want to give up a first on top of that. So then you look at it from Portland's lens, and do you value any of those guys? I don't think they're trading Wiggins, right? So you're looking at Heald, Moses Moody, or Podziemski. I don't think they're trading Heald for Jerami Grant. So it comes down to Moody versus Podziemski. That's like your first-round pick or your young player. It's a huge if the Warriors would trade either of those guys for Jerami Grant. It'd be most likely Podziemski. Podziemski's a guard, has not been good this year. Isn't really intriguing. Isn't that intriguing for the Blazers, in my opinion? Would you be intrigued by Podziemski, Eric?
Personally, no, but that's another guy that I think the Blazers would like to get their hands on. I don't know.
Yeah.
He'd definitely be that young player that they probably wouldn't get from another team. I don't know.
Yeah. So the Blazers would have to cut 4 players before making this trade, because it'd have to be Podziemski, GP2 Weeks, Kyle Anderson, Kevon Looney, and Lindy Waters. Okay. And then the Warriors would still be, according to Fanspo, $4 million over the tax and would have at least 3 roster spots to fill. So prorated contracts, you could probably barely stay below the hard cap. This is the problem with multiple teams, is finding a way for them to match salary and work around the new CBA. This is the problem with a lot of teams.
Yep.
And this is why I'm pessimistic. Alex Wolf says, I'd take a flyer on Moody. Sure, but the Warriors want to trade Moody? I mean, that's the most realistic option, is maybe Moses Moody, but I don't think they're giving up a first. And Moses Moody, kind of a guard wing, like undersized 3, solidly sized shooting guard. Is that really valuable for the Blazers? Maybe you could flip them. But it's just super messy. So the Blazers are going to have to get creative. Do you have faith in Joe Cronin being creative? We haven't seen him show, I don't know, maybe we have in the Dame trade, but outside of that, everything's been pretty straightforward for him. Chat, do you have any other teams you want me to run through before we end the stream? Maybe OKC would want to consolidate. I don't see OKC touching their team at all unless it's for a superstar no-brainer.
Well, they also, I mean, they're not trading any of the guys that it would take to match salary anyway.
Yeah. Jerami Grant might be like the 8th best player on their team. Why would they want to pay him $30 million? It's funny looking back when people were giving you guys crap for being skeptical about trading Jerami in a few years ago. Yeah, I mean, new CBA makes it tougher, but This is the problem. We're just looking at like team situations, and it's hard to find a ton of suitors. Okay, the suitors that you do find, then you have to hope that they completely overlook the way he's played this year, and then you also have to hope that they don't trade what the package would be for Jerami for somebody else. This is why, Eric, I've been super pessimistic. I do not think the Blazers are going to get back a first for Jerami Grant at this year's trade deadline. I would love to be wrong, okay? And if I am wrong, okay, sure, I'm wrong, but there's a lot of, like, there are many reasons why I believe this, okay? It's not like I'm just saying it to be pessimistic. There is all the reasons we talked about in the show that I think the only reasonable conclusion that you can come to based on the situation right now is that it's going to be extremely tough to get back a first-round pick for Jerami Grant. If they do it, great. Good job, Joe Cronin. You still probably waited too long, but at least you salvaged it. But that's the problem, is it's Joe Cronin having to salvage another situation that he created. So you cannot go into next season with Jerami Grant on the roster. They have to get rid of him. They have to get rid of Jerami Grant. And then you talk about, wow, when the Blazers have to get rid of somebody, they have no leverage. Just look at Norman Powell. Look at that Clippers trade.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens, guys, but I want to be realistic about this. I know it's more fun to dream about 2K trade scenarios where the Blazers are getting back a haul for him, but to me, that's just not realistic. I want you guys to know what to expect heading into the trade deadline. I could be sitting here, holding on to an agenda that Jerami Grant is still worth more than Jarris Walker in a first or worth 2 firsts, but you got to look at the rest of the league. Okay, you got to look at other teams and what they can trade and how they can match salary and what tradable first-round picks they have. It's not a pretty market. It's not a pretty market.
Nope.
And that's not even talking about DeAndre Ayton. So if they are struggling to get rid of Jerami Grant,
But we'd accept a lot less for Ayton, right? Seconds.
It's getting to the point where seconds for Jerami Grant maybe should be our reasonable expectation. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
If Grant gets traded, I'm expecting some second round picks and like a young player that the Blazers hype up as being better than he is. Okay. That is my prediction if Jerami Grant gets traded. I would love to be wrong. Love to be wrong. We'll see. Anything else, Eric?
No. Just yeah, when that tweet came through that the Lakers are making a trade, kind of perked up for a second. I was like, oh man.
I know. We'll go live if the Blazers make any trade. Okay, we'll go live as soon as possible on the main channel. We'll have the post-game show tonight. The Blazers take on the Philadelphia 76ers. It's New Year's night. All right, we'll recap this year for the Blazers, and then we'll talk about some goals for 2025, some New Year's resolutions for your Blazers. That's what we'll be doing on the post-game show tonight. Anyway, that's a wrap for this edition of Blazers Uprise Live. Hit the like on the way out. Thank you for joining us here on our second channel. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already. And I look forward to talking to you guys later tonight on the post-game show. We'll talk more trades, and we'll answer any questions that you had that we did not answer during this stream or the post-game show a couple nights ago. It'll be a very interactive night with the live chat. So if you got a question, sorry we couldn't answer it earlier, feel free to ask it tonight, and we'll do our best to, on top of breaking down what the Blazers do tonight against the Philadelphia 76ers. Can they get a win? They're 6.5-point underdogs according to BetUS. So we'll see if they can get their third straight win in a row for the second time this season as they take on the Sixers and maybe Joel Embiid. He's questionable. We'll see if he plays. We'll see if Jerami Grant plays. He's questionable. Toumani Kamara's questionable. So lots of lineup uncertainty still going into tonight's game. Anyway, we are out of here. We will catch you next time. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!